What's up, y'all? It's Kevin Crenshaw, aka the Heart Guy. And if you're watching this video, it's probably because you want to work on being the best partner that you can be. I just want to say I see you. I acknowledge you. Whether you have a partnership now and you want to show up more fully for your partner, or you're preparing yourself to be the best partner you can be for when that day happens. This question of how can I show up better? How can I work on myself? And having the courage to do that, I want to honor you because that's where my journey started over a decade ago. My first 3 relationships ended because they cheated on me. And I was kind of like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why does this keep happening? And what is it about me that's creating this dynamic that's causing the person that I love and that loves me to seek intimacy with another person? And that was the very beginning of the start of what we now know as the Heart Guy and who I am today. That kicked my curiosity into personal development, into understanding relational dynamics, into human psychology, and into trauma and understanding the nervous system. Because I really was trying to seek, why did that happen? And not just why did it happen, but what can I do to show up different? And in this past 10 years, I've healed codependency. I've shifted a lot of my relational patterns that kept repeating themselves even after I knew the information. I didn't know it. I wasn't living it. And so I actually didn't know it. Picking up what I'm putting down. So to embody this stuff is really important, but I want to just share the work that I've done and also the work that I help my clients do with you in this video, to kind of give you a framework or a guide on how to really be your best and show up your best for your partner. So there's really 3 parts to this. You want to be a gold digger. And I mean that actually kind of literally. You want to find the gold in them, and you want to find the gold in every situation. If you're always looking at the shit, if you're always looking at what's not good, there's always that. And there's always what you have to be grateful for. And there's always the gold and the things that you appreciate about your partner. And so often in the beginning, things are so amazing and juicy, and you see their gold and you think it's the best thing in the world. And you have more self-love and you have this energy that's like crazy and passionate, and the chemistry and the romance, and it's so good. And then the mundane kicks in and you start to see their negative patterns, or you see your toxic patterns, and the trauma stuff comes up and the triggers come up and it triggers you, and then you get super defensive, and it's like chain reaction, right? And if you don't willingly look for the gold and dig for the gold, even though you might have to dig through some dirt to find it, all of a sudden, all your awareness is full of what's wrong. All of your awareness is full of what they're not doing right, instead of why you love them in the first place. And so train your brain to seek the gold in every situation. And when you actually do that, you're going to feel more love for yourself, seeking the gold in them and expressing it. We really do crave affirmation and like, tell me that I'm doing a good job, or tell me like what you see in me. Appreciation and having it be acknowledged. A lot of humans are craving that. And you get to give that to the person that's closest to your heart, because love is a place to give, especially in relationships. And if you lead with that and giving, no matter what they're doing or not doing, they're not giving me this, so I'm not going to give them that. Well, really? Find the good and just start pouring into your partner. It takes 2 to create a pattern and 1 to change it. And from 10 years of working with people, most of the clients that I work with is singles, like a single person in a relationship. Or they're single and they're not in a relationship, but I don't work with both partners. And they still change their relationship. Why? Because that one person changed from this is all going wrong and this is the shit and they're not doing this, to loving their partner again and actively giving that love. And then their partner is naturally going to change as well. So be a gold digger. I wish I had some music playing in the background. You know what I mean? But for real, seek the good in your partner and make it an intentional effort to do that daily and share it with them. And when you get in the pattern of that, you'll start to notice some magic within you too, because you'll start to see the good in every situation, whether it's in life, in the difficulties, you'll see the opportunities. Even within you, you'll train yourself to find the good in every situation and to find the good in you, and what you seek, you will find. And if you're seeking shit, you're just going to find shit. If you're seeking to prove your insecurities right all the time, that all men are cheaters, or all women are cheaters, or all men are this, or da 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 da. You're going to find it. But if you seek the good, you'll find that too. And it really is a matter of perspective. So will yourself to train your brain to find the gold. Number 2 is to empty your heart of the past. Because so often, when we get into a partnership, we want to be aware of we're entering into the best spiritual dojo that there is, the best ceremony that you can do, the most potent process of personal development is in a relationship, because that person is reflecting you to yourself so clearly, and it's so close to your heart. And so when we're getting to a relationship, we're entering into a relationship with our partner's inner child, their wounded inner child, their nervous system, their unconscious patterns, the best self and their worst self. If we're going to judge them by best and worst, it's all of them. And so we want to just be aware of that. If your partner has an insecurity around something and you aren't necessarily mindful of your expressions, you can end up hurting them. And it's not to dumb down your self-expression, it's to be mindful of how your expression impacts other people. And that can be a refinement to your expression, therefore inner work, right? So it's loving the other person as they are, and recognizing they have a past and holding them to a higher standard of growth. And in order to do that and to show up your best, you also recognize that you're bringing your past into the relationship if it's not completed. And just because you don't consciously remember or think of exes doesn't mean that there's still insecurities from the past that were created, or that there's fears from the past that were created, or attachment styles from the past that were created, right? And so to empty your heart of the past is to fully forgive, to fully let go, to find the lesson and compassion in with all of your exes and even your parents. And when you mend all of the past, you can kind of show up in a relationship with a clear heart, and you're not triggered and then creating a past dynamic with your current partner that has nothing to do with them. So a lot of your work is in healing stuff from the past. And it's usually exes and parents that were the closest to our heart, that creates the walls and hesitations and things that can keep people at distance, or we become super needy, or whatever the thing is. Those behaviors get in the way of your healthy intimacy and romance in a relationship. And oftentimes people try to work through it with their partner. When I mean by emptying your heart is express what has never been expressed. You always want to say, fuck you to your dad. How dare you do that? Or say that to mom. And you never got a chance to say it. It's stuck in your body. And it being stuck in your body might be anger. And then just like a glass that's full to the brim of water, when your partner does something that would just tap the glass barely, your cup shakes and water comes out of anger because you're already full of anger. And then you blow up and get super angry, and they didn't deserve it. There's nothing wrong with that. We just want to see what's there. Your glass is full of anger because of something that happened with mom or dad or an ex. And so you exploded because anger was in your heart. So you want to empty your heart, empty the cup of the anger, and express what was never expressed. Did you never get to say no? Or maybe your needs, and expressing your needs. I have a say. Whatever wound is there, giving your body a visceral experience of doing that, not a journal, not a meditation, but acting it out physically in your body. It completes this karmic loop. It in your nervous system empties. It's like when you say, hey, can you just hear me? I need to say something. And then and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that felt so good just to be heard and listened to, right? Like that sigh of, oh, that inner peace that comes. It's also going to come when you empty your heart of any of this. Again, anger, sadness, resentment, shame, guilt, blame, judgments. When you empty your heart, you can then show up in truth and true love with your partner now and build something that's healing from the past. So that's a big step. Be a gold digger, empty your heart and your relationship with yourself, which this is a skill that's needed in relationships, is effective communication. We all know this, it's really important. Well, how do you get to be a better communicator? Is not just in learning how to, the words to say and how to communicate what you mean. It's also how to be an effective listener and to listen what they're trying to actually say. And in order to do that, you have to create an inner dialogue inside of you of harmony, of peace, of compassion. So this is where self-love comes into play. And it's the relationship that you have with yourself is how you're going to communicate with others. Because if you're shaming yourself, beating yourself up for something, if you talk negatively to yourself about a certain topic, and then your partner goes and does that topic, it will be projected onto them. But if you start to build more compassion or curiosity for your inner parts, you'll meet your partner with compassion and curiosity. So inner work, it really is outer work when it comes to relationships. And when you have that more whole and complete and loving and compassionate and patient, curious posture with yourself, you're able to then communicate with your partner in the same way. And you'll have a grounded nervous system to where you can hear them or they can hear you. And you need a grounded nervous system in order to do that. The grounded nervous system is going to come from self-love and also emptying your heart. Now, being a gold digger, empty your heart of the past and your relationship with yourself in terms of inner dialogue. That really is a very high level overview of what to do. Now, you also, in moving through all of this and dancing with another person in a partnership, you kind of want to carry a certain posture. This is like character traits, or you could say where you're coming from in moving through the nuances of things. Because in a perfect world, you do these things and oh my God, your relationship's great. But we're also working with another person who's also doing their inner work and is also, hopefully, and is also, you know what I mean? It's a dance. And sometimes in a dance, you step on each other's toes. And sometimes things don't go perfect. Life isn't perfect. So you're also dancing with them trying to do this inner work as well. If you're in a relationship, I'd recommend you send them this video. So you also need to carry somewhat of a certain posture in order to do this dance. Number one is commitment. I have a podcast where I interview couples who've been married for decades, still passionately in love. And the thing that's gotten them through it all, when all of their stuff that most people would break up because of, is because they made a commitment and they stayed by their commitment. I'm committed. You are my person. We're going to figure this out. That's what got them through it. And so be committed, because just because you are deserving of love doesn't mean you're excused from the work that it takes to build a healthy relationship. So commit and stay in the dojo that is an intimate relationship. And it'll show you more of the work to do on you. Also take responsibility. It takes two to tango and it takes one to lead. It takes two to create a pattern and one to change it. Instead of saying, well, they're not doing this and pointing out the things that they're not doing. Well, am I creating a safe space for them to show up for me in that way? Interesting question. What part am I playing in on how they're not showing up for this? Am I lighting them the fuck up? Am I supporting them in this? Or am I just asking more of them? Calling some of y'all out big time right now. Take some responsibility. And what can I do? Let me show up and be the gold digger here. Let me show up and empty my heart. Let me show up and pour more love into my partner and express it and help them create a safe space. And then I can make my requests known from a place of safety where they feel safe to grow. Am I a safe space for my partner? Or am I just demanding things from them because it's the standard? Question you can ask yourself. Also, having a posture of repair. Now, repair requires two things: having courage and vulnerability. You have to have the courage to face your partner when you're triggered and pissed off. Say, I'm sorry. Lean in and say, let's work on this. To choose love and to be the first to stop the fight and go, I love you. What's really going on? It takes courage to stand up and do that. It takes courage to break past your relational patterns. If you have a pattern of keeping your mouth shut and not speaking your needs, it's going to take courage to speak your needs. For some of you, it's going to take courage to stay in the relationship and actually work on things instead of just leaving. Where's your courage, and how do you need to show up with more courage? And then there's also vulnerability. Being open and being vulnerable is very important. You need to have a blend of both to repair. Courage to face each other again. Vulnerability to say what's really going on, not hiding anything. And with that posture of commitment, responsibility, and repair, being a gold digger, empty your heart of the past, and work on your inner relationship and how you're relating to certain parts of yourself, the dialogue that's going on in your head. That is the path to really working on being your best self and being the best partner that you can be. And again, there's so many nuances and other things that I could talk about, but hopefully this video gave you a lot of value. I do just want to say that if you are curious about working on any of this stuff, please DM me and say, hey, I watched the video. I would love to learn more. What's the next step? The next step could be working with me one-on-one. The next step could be joining me in my membership where we do this work every single week. And you get to do that in a group environment with me live on Zoom, and I get to be there to support you. Or I've got a retreat that's happening at the end of February 2023. If you want to do this stuff with me in person, we're really going to be focusing on emptying your heart of the past and giving your body a somatic experience to express those things and to release those things so you can stop patterns of codependency or hyper independence or whatever's showing up that's blocking you from the love that you want, so you can really free your heart to fully relate to another person differently, healthfully, a more secure attachment style, we could say. And we're going to be sharing a lot of cool tools as well. So whether it's a retreat, the membership, one-on-one coaching, if any of that is calling you, I would invite you to reach out and say if it's calling you. If you don't know which one would be best, we can jump on a call, whatever it is. But hopefully, even if you don't do that, lean in and do this work, because you can know something, but if you don't have it in your life, you don't know it. Right? So I hope that you embody this stuff. I would love to support you in embodying this stuff. Hopefully you have support to embody this. Go out there and make the rest of your life the best of your life. I love y'all so much. With everything you do, put some heart into all of it.